What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. We've got a little bit of Seahawks news from earlier this morning concerning the defensive coordinator position. This is obviously something that we haven't had a lot of movement on, not a lot of discussion on, because we have Mike Macdonald, and we know that Mike Macdonald is going to be the primary voice in this defense. We also know that for the moment, anyway, he's going to also be the play caller. So the defensive coordinator only does so much, but that doesn't mean he does nothing. And it doesn't mean this hire is meaningless. So this is worth discussing, even if it's only for a few minutes. The Seahawks are speaking with Aden Durde. Actually, I believe British. I believe he's one of the only British coaches out in the NFL. Maybe he's the only one, actually. I saw something about that. But Aden Durde is speaking with the Seahawks about the defensive coordinator role. He's also potentially going to be promoted within the Cowboys organization to defensive coordinator because that's where he currently is. So there is a little bit of competition here, but Aden Durde joins Joe Cullen as the only two people to have serious traction as a Seahawks defensive coordinator. So seems to me there's a pretty good chance it'll be one of those two guys. But let's take a look at Aden Durde a little bit here. It's not a very long resume. He's been a coach in the NFL for 6 seasons. 2 of those seasons, he was a defensive quality control coach in Atlanta. Then he got, quote-unquote, promoted to outside linebacker coach for 1 year in 2020. That was the year Dan Quinn got fired. And by the way, that makes Aden Durde decidedly a Dan Quinn person because that's who he's been attached to every single year of his coaching career. Because after 2020... he left the Falcons and joined the Dallas Cowboys, where Dan Quinn also went and was the defensive line coach there for the last 3 seasons. So that's his background. Aden Durde, defensive line coach for 3 straight years, and it's been a good defensive line. I mean, it's Micah Parsons, you've got Odigizua, you've got DeMarcus Lawrence. These are some guys who have played really, really well in the NFL for the last few seasons. A big reason why that defense has been so elite over the last 3 years. So this is a Dan Quinn person. This would be a hire that I would think would make a lot more sense if you had hired Dan Quinn to be your head coach. So I don't think that it makes as much sense with Macdonald because, as you can see, there's no background that I can see here with Mike Macdonald. There's no similar origin. He didn't go to college at Georgia or anything like that. So I don't know. I mean, he has done a good job the last few years. It's hard to deny that. That Cowboys defensive line has been really good. They get after the quarterback like few other teams out there. And he's had a hand in developing some really good players as well as getting really good play out of some players that it seemed like maybe didn't have a lot left, like a D-Law. One thing worth noting, I guess, would be that Mazi Smith has gone nowhere under his tutelage. But it's 1 year, might not mean anything. And there does seem to be some difficulty with finding a big 1-tech or 0-tech to anchor the middle of the defense. Like, I remember the Cowboys a couple years ago drafted Bohanna. I believe his name was Quinton Bohanna or something like that as a nose tech type, and it never panned out at all. And now you have the Mazi Smith thing. So you are seeing some difficulty on that level, but in terms of getting really good play out of defensive linemen, the Cowboys have done extremely well, so he's done well. But I continue to kind of lean towards Joe Cullen as being the superior hire, while at the same time acknowledging the fact that it probably doesn't matter that much as long as Mike Macdonald likes the guy and feels comfortable with the guy. So that is the second guy that we're looking at for DC right now, along with Cullen. So let me know what you guys think about this one. A lot less experience than Cullen. A lot less results that I would consider to be impressive than Cullen. But also younger. He's 44 years old. So if he's good, you've got a young, hot defensive coordinator prospect. And I'm not sure exactly how it works. But if he gets considered for a head coaching job at some point, you might get some compensatory picks out of it. So that's about all I can say about the Aden Durde thing. One other little piece of news, expected, but Andy Dickerson is gone, been hired by the Browns as an offensive line coach, replacing Bill Callahan. So Andy Dickerson's gone, but I'd be very surprised if you kept him when you moved off of Waldron and then moved on to whoever it is we're going to end up with. So totally expected, not at all disappointing or anything like that. I do think Dickerson was fairly good. We just didn't give him a lot to work with. I think that Dickerson probably did about as good as he could this most recent year, and he was just stuck behind the eight ball all year because of the injuries and because we, to a certain extent, didn't even have starters that were all that good in some positions. All right, that's about all I got. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think about Aden Durde, and we'll see if we get anything official at some point later today.